Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and today I'm coming to you from the hot garage with something that I think might be controversial to some people. I'm sure you saw the very provocative title that I added to this video, which normally I don't do, and normally I try not to talk about other YouTubers or gun tubers, but I think this is a special occasion. Now, there are a couple of caveats that I have to give to this video. Obviously, you saw that I mentioned Mrgunsngear in the title of this video, so I need to let you know I'm actually a big fan of Mrgunsngear. I always watch his videos. I enjoy his content. I have subscribed to him on Rumble and YouTube, and I also follow many of his social media accounts. I like his style, I like his demeanor, and I like his presentation style. I know that not everybody does, but I personally do. I don't think I watch every single one of his videos, but in general, I would say that I am a loyal follower of his. And what we're going to talk about today is something that I think he is doing that is disingenuous and not healthy or productive for the gun community in general. And that is lying through omission. Now, the other caveat that I have to give for this video, just so you know, is that this is the Texas Gun Vault 2. That implies there's a Texas Gun Vault 1. It's just called the Texas Gun Vault. And if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description below. And that is where I release all of my properly edited videos for product reviews and range reports, where I shoot a bunch of guns. So this channel is reserved for my commentary videos or first impressions videos or behind the scenes stuff that I don't want to just clog everyone else's feed on the main channel with and bore them. So you're free to subscribe over there if you only care about the product reviews and the range reports, or if you like the behind the scenes casual stuff, you can subscribe here or to both. And I also try to keep my personal social media, like my Instagram and my Facebook, pretty much focused on guns. But I've noticed that Mrgunsngear, as of late, has kind of veered out of the gun lane and started talking about other news items. But the thing we're going to talk about today is gun related, because I saw it on his Facebook page. Now, as I said, I think he's lying through omission. The one thing I have learned being a content creator is how easily manipulated people can be. Now, I'm going to say something that is going to be, once again, very contentious with a lot of you. And that is, many people in the gun community, and once again, I'm not accusing any of you of this, are honestly kind of stupid. Now, I don't mean that they're bad people. I just mean that they are easily manipulated because they do not do any research below the surface. A good example, in fact, it kind of touches base on what we're going to talk about today with Mrgunsngear's post, was a long time ago when the ATF changed the rule on pistol stabilizing braces. I made a series of videos where I amnesty registered a pistol with a stabilizing brace just to see what happens. I said I was going to be the guinea pig because there's so many people online. All the legal eagle scholars were saying, you're going to admit to a felony. They're going to come and get you. You're going to jail. Oh my God. And other people in the community that were just viewers like, you don't get a tax stamp for that. It's illegal. They're going to get you. They're going to come kill you and your dog in the middle of the night. And here we are like 4.5 years later. I got a form approval on it, and they've never come to the house or called me or had any problems, never contacted me any other way. I just did the form as it was. And I just said, hey, you don't got to do this. I just want to give you this information. And of course, I got the plethora of comments of people saying, shall not be infringed. The ATF can't create law. I will not comply. And as I always tell everybody that says they won't comply, if you've ever gone down to the gun store and filled out a 4473, you've complied. If you have a state-issued concealed carry permit, whatever it's called, CCW or CCL or whatever, you've complied. If you don't make your own silencers and machine guns at home because you know it's illegal, you've complied. You do a lot of complying for not complying, right? Well, I know people like to talk a big game, and that's because they like to feel that they're big and tough, but they want everybody else to fight the battles for them. I'm not calling you or anybody here personally that or accusing you of that, But I think you guys see a lot of that within our community. And then when it comes to the actual implementation of laws, what laws say, what rules say, how they're enforced, what's going on, everybody just sees this surface level stuff and they never dig deeper into what that rule or law actually says and then panics the F out about it. And it's just like, guys, we don't have to lie to further the pro-gun agenda. We don't have to lie about the laws. They're already bad enough. I always use the example to my liberal friends that, like, when it comes to Donald Trump, you don't have to lie about him to prove he's a bad person. Now, I'm not saying, listen, I think he's a great president, but as a person, I mean, come on. His decorum on social media, calling people names, well, maybe the president of the United States shouldn't do that, okay? Maybe he's, you know, cheated on his wife in the past. I'm not saying that disqualifies him from anything. I'm just saying that we can all agree that he's a human being and has done human being things, and none of us are perfect. But you don't have to lie about him to make him look worse, okay? All you got to do is just tell the truth. And you might bring people to your side, you might not. But lying isn't going to further your cause. I say the same thing should go for us in the pro-gun world. We don't have to lie. Now, Mrgunsngear, I think, lies through omission in a recent post he made online on Facebook. And I want to show you that post, and I want to read that post. So it has to do with the possession of a, I'll put this in air quotes, short-barreled rifle that really is a pistol with a stabilizing brace. I heard about this story a while ago. And of course, like everybody else, the way it was presented to me concerned me. I was like, oh my God, is the ATF really going after braced pistols again? Even though the Trump administration has given the ATF a directive, repeal the rule, do not enforce the rule, and if there's any court cases dealing with this, pull back from those court cases. So you hear a story that the Trump DOJ has filed charges against somebody for possession of a CZ Scorpion pistol with a pistol stabilizing brace. Everybody is panicking the F out. Oh my God, Trump is not being pro-Second Amendment, blah, 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 okay? And I heard about this. I didn't dig any deeper into it, but I had suspicions there was a deeper story, something that we're not being told. At the time, I didn't really care about it. But then I saw this post from Mrgunsngear talking about them adding more charges to this person. So let's read his post, and then we'll talk about what actually happened. So he posted, "This case is actually getting worse. Many of y'all will remember that in early March, President Trump's DOJ charged a man who was in possession of this braced CZ Scorpion with possession of a short-barreled rifle, or SBR. After those charges were filed, GOA and FRAC, maybe others, petitioned the DOJ to remove the charge. Well, they did the opposite, and now they're charging him with possession of a SBR and an unlawful handgun for the same gun. So they're now saying this gun is both a SBR and a pistol, which is obviously impossible. Share this everywhere, so hopefully it gets the attention of someone high enough up in the DOJ to make this nonsense stop." And he put the hashtag Pam Bondi, who, by the way, I still cannot believe that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, is 60 years old. She looks like she is like 39. She has that Dick Clark gene where I guess she never ages. Hashtag Trump, hashtag DOJ, and hashtag second, obviously for the Second Amendment. And then we see a picture of that CZ Scorpion pistol. Okay, so from looking at this social media post, what do you automatically assume? Okay, just from the information that was given. Well, first off, Trump is supposed to be pro-Second Amendment. Why is he charging or having his DOJ charge somebody with possession of a pistol stabilizing brace? He's already said, pull back on this. The ATF has pulled these rules back. What's going on? Oh my God. Does that mean if I go to the range here in Texas, or maybe you in Montana or Indiana or Oklahoma or Nebraska, and you're just going to be sitting there with your family enjoying a nice day at the range, that the ATF is going to do some type of raid and inspect everyone's guns, and sir, you need to come with us. You're going to jail for 10 years for possession of a short-barreled rifle. And you're like, what? Or are you worried they're going to come to your house in the middle of the night and go, back in 2019, you filled out at an FFL, you filled out a 4473 for this gun with a pistol stabilizing brace, hands in the air, and they shoot your dog. Are you worried about that? Because that's what that post makes it sound like. Because, oh my God, they're coming after anybody for anything. Well, I was like, okay, hold up a second. What in the world's going on here? Okay, because I know that things can be left out. So for example, what if I told you a man in Oklahoma was arrested for illegally owning a suppressor? And of course, you know, in Oklahoma, you can own a suppressor. And you're like, wait, they can't do that. Suppressors are legal in Oklahoma. The DOJ can't, the ATF can't create law. Ah! And then you find out that the person created the suppressor at home and put it on a pistol and robbed a bank. Then you go, well, hold on a second. So he didn't follow the law, okay? Well, by the way, I should give another caveat about my stance on the Second Amendment. I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I believe that you should own machine guns, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns. I believe that you should be able to make your own suppressors at home. I think the NFA is unconstitutional. I think the 68 Gun Control Act is unconstitutional. I think the Hughes Amendment to the 86 Firearm Owners Protection Act is unconstitutional. But we live in a nation of laws. I don't have to agree with those laws, just like speeding. I can say, I don't think the speed limit on this road should be 45 miles an hour. But if I choose to go 60 miles an hour on that road, I might have to pay the consequences. I might have a speeding ticket that I have to pay. I can be mad about it, but you know how to change these laws? You get Congress and the Senate to pass bills that the president signs to repeal this legislation, or you get the courts to rule them unconstitutional. And there are people that are trying to do that. There are cases that are being litigated. There are people that are trying to pass bills that repeal these laws. But as I am making this video right now, those anti-gun laws are in the books. So if you are a person that says the Republicans or the conservatives or whatever is the party of the rule of law, you have to know that the law can go in both directions here. You don't have to agree with it. And we live in a civil society where there are ways of amending the law where you go, well, I don't agree with that law, but it is the law. So just like with those silencers, that case, that imaginary case I made up in Oklahoma. At first, without knowing the background of the bank robbery, you go, well, they should be allowed to. Well, that person might have to pay the consequence for making an illegal silencer if they're caught. Okay? They made that decision. I don't have to like that law. I think the law should be repealed, but that's the law as it stands today. I will donate money to organizations that are going to fight those laws in court. I am going to contact my representatives to get those laws repealed. But the way that we win that is through that course of action and not having people arrested. Okay? And then coming and saying, well, I know it's on the books, but don't charge them with this. Because what's the other side going to say? Oh, you don't want the law enforced if it's people on your side for something that matters to you. So, do you think that there's something that possibly could be omitted in this story about this person that's being arrested and Mrgunsngear is scaring everybody with when it comes to this story? Well, let's find out, because he attached the charging documents or the indictment from the grand jury. So let's take a look at this. And I want to see if you can tell what the problem is here. Here we go. Superseding indictment. The grand jury charges that, count 1, on or about June 29th, 2023, within the District of Columbia, Taylor Toronto, don't know how to pronounce it, knowingly possessed a firearm, namely a Scorpion CZ short-barreled rifle that is not registered to him in the National Firearms Registration and Transfer Record. And of course, they give the law there. Then count 2, on or about June 29th, 2023, within the District of Columbia, Taylor Toronto did carry openly and concealed on or about his person in a place other than his dwelling place, place of business, or on other land possessed by him, a Scorpion CZ pistol without a license issued pursuant to law. Okay, so is the issue that he has 2 counts on the same gun, one for a rifle, one for a pistol? No. If you paid very close attention to that indictment, it said District of Columbia. Now, we all know that the District of Columbia has some of the most anti-gun laws in the country. So, you can't own assault weapons, put that in air quotes, it's their term, not mine. You can't own assault pistols. You can't have magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. Everything has to be registered with the city. You can't own NFA items, which is, machine guns, short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, suppressors. You can't even own components of ammunition. Even if you don't own a gun, if you own a spent shell casing that you picked up at the range when you were in Virginia, you are technically committing, I think it's first-degree misdemeanor in DC for the possession of the components of ammunition. That is how anti-gun they are. I think they have one FFL. There's a waiting period. You have to get a permit to buy. You can only buy one every 30 days. It's terrible. It is the anti-gun utopia. We all know that. It is about the polar opposite than it is from like Texas or North Dakota, or probably a state where you live like Montana or Indiana or something of that nature. So this person, okay, Taylor, whatever his last name is, however it is to pronounce, he carried openly and concealed without a permit a gun that he's not allowed to have in the District of Columbia. Now, regardless if it's a rifle or a pistol, he's breaking a lot of laws. Now, as I said, I think all of these laws are unconstitutional. I think they're all wrong, and I will fight to have them overturned. However, they are the laws that are on the book. So why should I be surprised when the city of Washington, D.C. goes after him, and for him carrying openly, I mean, just think about that, okay? Carrying a CZ Scorpion pistol openly in Washington, D.C., the most anti-gun jurisdiction in the United States. So, don't you think that that should be information that should be added to Mr. Gunsngear's post? Doesn't that change your opinion of that story a little bit? The initial post made it look like some innocent little baby angel was at the range. He had his kids around. They were just plinking, and in walked the ATF and arrested him. Or they did some type of like random search at his house, an unconstitutional warrantless search. No, he was arrested for openly carrying a firearm in Washington, D.C. He didn't have a permit to own it. It's a gun he can't own. It's a gun that's banned in Washington, D.C. Why are you surprised? Now, if you want to get down to what I think's happening here, well, okay, maybe the DOJ is actually dropping the charge or is going to drop the charge for the SBR. Because if you have that count 1 indictment and they drop the charge, well, he'll be free to go. But if they get the count 2 on the pistol, because it is a pistol, then they can drop the count 1 and he's not free to go. Does that make any sense? So maybe they overcharged him for one or the other, depending on what the DOJ is trying to do. So is this person absolutely innocent? Well, his intentions, I don't know the nature of his arrest or how he came into contact with law enforcement. I have no idea. But what he's charged with are severe crimes in DC. I don't think that they should be, but they are. And then everyone's surprised. So to me, the story isn't now they're charging him with possession of a pistol and a rifle. I honestly think they're going to drop the rifle charge because of the pistol stabilizing brace rule being repealed. But why are people upset about this? Because, okay, yes, it is an unconstitutional law, but we all know. I know that many of you that follow my channel are pretty smart. You know that if you're not a citizen, let's say, of New York City, don't carry a gun openly in New York City. Don't carry your gun in New York City if you don't have you know the risks that are associated with it. You know law enforcement will not be kind to you. You know the courts there will give you no mercy. You know that. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not your daddy. I'm not your lawyer, okay? I personally think carrying a firearm in New York City unlawfully is probably a bad idea, okay? That's what I think. Now, once again, do I think that we should be allowed to? Absolutely, 100%. I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. But I also understand the practical nature of the situation, okay? And I can choose to avoid these places. I don't go to Washington, D.C. I don't go to New York City because I think that there's anti-Second Amendment hellholes. They deny me my constitutional rights. So why am I going to go there, spend my time there, spend my money there? I'm not going to do that. But these people do. And so I think that by lying through omission, not talking about how it was in the District of Columbia, it scares people. Because once again, I think that the Second Amendment community in general are a bunch of, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, and it's very, very, very contentious. They're idiots and they're dumb. They're easily manipulated because they get these big social media influencers that tell them, shall not be infringed, the ATF can't create law. And then they either go out in social media and say all this stuff, okay, and maybe some of them are emboldened to do things that are illegal and it gets them in trouble. And then when they get in trouble, you can't go to the police and a judge say, well, Mrgunsngear said I could do this. ATF can't create law. Well, that's not going to hold up in court, right? You can't do that. And then the other side of the coin is you have all these people that might want to do something legal, for example, own a pistol with a stabilizing brace, if it's legal in your jurisdiction. But now you're going to be up all night going, oh my God, is the ATF going to come into my house and kill my dog and kill me? Oh my God, I filled out a 4473 back in 2016 for one of these. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's not healthy. You don't have to lie to make your case. Do I think that lying through omission in this case is bad? Absolutely. The case itself shouldn't even be charged, or I guess he could be charged for possession of a pistol. And I don't think anybody here would bat an eye. We would all go, why did you carry a pistol in a city you're not supposed to? But they blow this way out of proportion. And this is something that I hate it when gun tubers and gun content creators create clickbaity things and they lie through omission, because so many people do not actually look at the details that are below the surface. And I definitely think that they should do that. Because there's so many people in the gun community that, as I said, are just dumb, ignorant, and stupid. I'm not calling any of you that. I'm not calling the community that. I'm not saying anyone's right should be curtailed. I believe that the way that we win this battle is through education. We have to make sure that we're truthful, honest, we're legal, and we do things in a civil way. We get our legislators to repeal laws. We get the courts to find things unconstitutional. That's how we do it. Because if anything is done through the executive branch, great. Donald Trump is pro-Second Amendment, told the ATF to retract all these rules. What do you think is going to happen on day one the next time a Democrat becomes president? With the snap of a finger, we're back to where we're at, because the law wasn't overturned and the court didn't say it was unconstitutional. So, I do not think it is healthy or productive to lie through omission. And to be very honest with you, I'm very disappointed in Mrgunsngear. Now, do I think this was intentional? I don't know. Maybe Mrgunsngear didn't even realize at his own post that, oh my God, it's in the District of Columbia. Maybe in his mind, it's somebody where he's at in, I think, North Carolina or something. And in his mind, like, well, obviously a pistol stabilizing brace is a common thing around here. But doesn't reading that story make you scared? Oh my God, I can't go to the range and do that. No one's going to come after you. No one. As I mentioned before, I was the canary in the coal mine when it came to the ATF pistol stabilizing brace amnesty registration. People called me the worst names possible. And they said I was going to be killed. My dog was going to be killed. I was admitting to a felony. And here we go. 5 years later, I got my little approval letter, and that was it. I got a free SBR. Okay, that was it. It's all that happened. People panicked. Nobody seems to remember that. Everybody was Chicken Little and the sky was falling. And that's what I think this is. If you actually look deeper into the case, it's a nothing burger. Now, do I think, once again, the laws should be what they are? Absolutely not. Should we fight the laws? Absolutely we should. But he carried openly a gun with a pistol stabilizing brace in the city of Washington, D.C. Just ask yourself, was he doing something smart and intelligent, or was he asking for trouble? What's the saying? I don't know if I'm going to bleep myself. Maybe I'm so far in this video I can say it. Fuck around and find out. And that just doesn't go in the conservative direction. It can go in the liberal anti-gun direction as well. He went to Washington, D.C., openly carried a CZ pistol with a stabilizing brace. He fucked around and he found out. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't know the other deeper story to his interaction, but it looks like he went to the most anti-gun jurisdiction, carried a gun he's not supposed to have, and carried it in a manner he's not supposed to carry it in. What do you want me to do? If you believe in the rule of law and law and order, you have to admit those laws are on the books. Your only options are to get them repealed or to have the courts overturn them. So there you go. So that's all I want to say on this. I am not upset with Mr. Guns and Gear. I'm still going to follow him, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about his clickbaity title? And do you agree with me that it was wrong because he lied through omission? So if you made it to the end of this video, the word of the day is going to be omission. Omission is the word of the day. It lets me know that you're a true vault dweller and can tolerate my voice for way too long. So, as always, tell me what you think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.